Happy Veterans Day, everybody. And truly, if you served our country, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, or in any other capacity, I want to say thank you very much from me, from all of us in the Fox 26 Weather Department. America owes you a debt of gratitude for defending all of the freedoms that we have. So I hope you have a really good Veterans Day. We did mention this morning on the news that maybe sometimes Happy Veterans Day isn't the right way to say things because a lot of people have some bad memories about their time in the service. And so I guess it's just best to say that we thank you for your service, right? So hopefully that suffices. I want to talk about what to expect today from the weather, but more importantly, I'm going to go around the newsroom and we're going to find, because we do have several veterans here in the newsroom, that I want to get a little bit of background on what they did when they served in our armed forces. But I also, because I'm the meteorologist, I got to put a little bit of a weather spin on it. So I'm going to try to ask some of these folks if they have a weather memory from their time served, because, you know, especially we have some guys in the Navy. And I mean, gosh, when you talk about the weather affecting you, if you're on a ship, it's a big, big deal. So let me just tell you what to expect from Mother Nature for the day today. I'm very glad to say that the weather was fine for the parades and so forth, but it is going to be another, nice rest of the day if you're watching this here at 1 p.m. live. A clear sky at about 2 p.m., 83 degrees, about 80, settling down a little bit by 5 p.m. And this evening, if you're heading out, mostly clear and back down to about 71 degrees. And it is going to be pretty nice overnight tonight and by tomorrow morning, with those temperatures dropping down into the upper 50s and low 60s. And now I'm going to go search around the newsroom, try to find folks that are not too busy, see if I can grab them for a few minutes and tell you about their military service and maybe try to get a couple of weather stories. All right, folks, as part of our Veterans Day weather special here on Mondays with Mike, I'm joined by one of my favorite people in the whole world, truly. Our great security guard, Mr. Eloris Dennis.
Morning,
and
everyone.
He's a veteran.
Morning, everyone.
Can you tell everybody about your service?
Well, there's not really much to tell. My job had folded when I was still in high school, so I elected to go in on my own. 1980, back then the enlisted program delayed entry.
Okay. What year was this?
1980. But I didn't go into April of 81.
Okay.
Fort
So-
Lauderdale, Alabama, Fort Lee, Virginia for school, Fort Polk, Louisiana after that. Very proudly, Pisa, Italy, believe it or not. Then I was transferred to Mannheim, Germany, and had the time of my life.
You did.
Yes,
So
I
how
did.
much time did you spend in Europe?
2.5 years.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I missed all the Five Slammer Jammer time, so I didn't get to
Oh,
see
it was
none of
during that.
During that era.
Oh, man.
Michael Young was one of my classmates. My mother kind of kept me up to date what was going on. And believe it or not, the sad part of that was I saw the game that we lost.
Oh, yeah. I know they never quite got it.
No.
So you came out of Jack Yates High School.
Yes, I did.
Now, why you were in the U.S. Army, right? I don't know if we said that. So what made you want to join the military rather than just going out and starting your work life?
It was just a change in my life I needed for myself to try to do better, to serve my dad, who also was a veteran too.
Yeah.
I wanted to prove to him that I can do something on my own without him.
Yeah.
So then, to make a long story short, the day I left for the service, he was going to work that day. So he comes home. Mom asks, "Where's our son?" He said, "He's already gone." "Oh, where?" Is when I was calling him, "Dad, I'm already listening. I'm already gone." "Really?" "Okay, son. My prayers go with you."
Wow.
I knew I had his faith right there.
And in total, you were in for how many years?
3.5 years.
Yeah. Okay, so since this is a weather show, since I'm the weather guy, is there anything that sticks out during those 3.5 years that was somehow like related to weather? Hot, cold, stormy, anything like that affected you in the Army?
There was one particular morning in Tirana, Italy. I'll never forget it. It was during that time I was about to be deployed to Germany, to make a long story short. It was nice and beautiful in Tirana. I was looking out to the west. All of a sudden, this cloud comes out of nowhere, and it started to rain. And it caught me off guard when it happened. It's like, okay, is this a sign or what is it? So I should have got into it, but I didn't get into it. But that kind of gave me something to think about.
Yeah.
So make a long story short, it was a beautiful thing to see because I've seen 3 sunsets. One was in Italy and one was in Germany. I'll never forget.
Wow.
Beautiful sunsets.
Have you ever had a chance to go back?
Not yet.
No.
No.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe
But
someday.
the only problem is my wife was scared of flying. And she's gonna give me for saying that on air, but she'll get over it.
Okay. Well, she's a wonderful lady, though.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, she definitely is. All right, Mr. D. Thank you so much.
Thank you as well, Mike.
You're the best, and thank you for your service. That was you. Hey, look. At the very least, you missed Phi Slamma Jamma to serve our country.
Yeah, well, it was worth it.
Well, I got the.
If I had to go back and change it again, I wouldn't change anything.
Excellent. I got the UH Cougars
on
to the Cougars. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Michael.
All right. All right. We're moving on now to one of our edit bays and one of our fine editors, Mr. Tom Tito.
How you doing?
A veteran of the United States Navy.
Something like that.
So, Tom, how did it become, like, how did you decide to join the Navy and all that?
Want to see the world.
Yeah.
Isn't that the old cliche? But it was true in my case.
Yeah.
After high school, I was like, I'm done living in Houston, where I'm from. I decided, what can I do now with my life? I said, why not see the world?
Yeah.
And it just popped in my head. It's like, you know what? Let's join the Navy. Let's
Wow.
go see what's out there.
But it's still, that's great. But I mean, it's still a huge commitment to do. I mean, it's not like you just go, like, if you wanted to see the world, you could have just bought a plane ticket. You know what I mean? That's quite a commitment, isn't it?
Throw a backpack on my back and then just go. No, I wanted to serve my country as well. I thought about that for a while. My senior year of high school, it was always in the back of my mind rather. And finally when I graduated, I decided to go ahead and walk into that recruiter's office and say, sign me up.
So where did they send you?
So I was stationed in Norfolk, Virginia. So all of my, it's funny, right after boot camp, they said, well, we're going to go ahead and send you to this little conflict that was going on.
Yes.
Right around, late 1991, the first Gulf War. So as soon as I finished boot camp, I went straight over there.
Yeah.
So they flew me where my ship was already stationed over there in the Gulf, in the Persian Gulf. So that was kind of a heck of an experience, just flying halfway across the world and just being inserted into this new world, new life,
so here you are, a young, fresh-faced kid, Westbury High School, right? Yeah. And now you're getting shipped to the Persian Gulf. I mean, was there active war? I mean, did you see smoke and explosions?
No,
weren't there mines also there?
So that was always the worrying about mines being out there along the water. We've had vessels that are supposed to be looking out for that kind of stuff and keeping us safe. So yeah, we had the battle group was already there. They helicoptered me into my ship where it was already stationed, floating along the Persian Gulf War along with a bunch of other ships.
Wow.
So that was kind of interesting, kind of a culture shock just to go from, hanging out, being a teenager in Houston to here you are now.
Was it, what kind of ship was it?
So this was what we call an amphibious vessel. So basically we were, to put it in a jokingly manner, a taxi cab for the Marines. Oh. So we had what we called a Marine Expeditionary Unit on board. They were out of North Carolina, so there was about 1,200 of them on board. So we do amphibious activities with the Marines, as far as we would drop them off if there was ever a, the whole thing about during the war, there was always we were going to do an amphibious assault, right? So that was always the thing where there was rumors about doing amphibious assault, and one of our ships, the ship that I was on, is made for that. We have a hollow deck at the bottom of the ship where you can come in and bring in Marines, get them on board the LCACs and other types of small ships, boats, and then get them over to the beach. So that's what my ship was. It also had a small flight deck on top where we can land helos on top as well. So we did a lot of amphibious exercises along with the Marines and things like that.
Was there something that sticks out that was your scariest moment?
Not really, not off the top of him. I mean, I was just in this new environment, you know, trying to take it all in.
That's a
You
way to
know,
see the world, isn't
yeah,
it?
that was
When you
a
wanted to see, maybe
uh,
that wasn't the part of the
not
world you wanted to see.
right, not right off the gates for sure,
Yeah.
but it was a heck of an experience. You know, it makes you grow up real fast. You meet a lot of good friends, you meet a lot of new people, you meet all sorts of people. You know,
Yeah.
but no, it wasn't really worried about it. You know,
Okay.
we just did our jobs. We just, you know, everybody had their own things, you know, their own jobs to do. You do your thing, you do your job, you get through the day, and then
Yeah.
you know, we just, you know, everybody was waiting to see what would happen.
Yeah.
You know, and then after all the conflict was over with, we just headed back to United States after that. Which, interested enough, we definitely got a better reception than our old veterans from Vietnam War did. That's for
No
sure.
doubt about that. I know. Okay, so since this is a weather show, and since I'm the weather guy,
Yeah.
is there any aspect of weather that you remember from your time in the Navy?
Oh, well, I think we were crossing back the pond, going from the Mediterranean back to the U.S. We ran into some heavy storms. That I remember one particular incident. We had some probably 30, 40 foot swells that we hit along the way back, and you know, you would see the ship go up, see the sky, and then come back down and see nothing but water. And a lot of people that weren't used to that kind of rough sea, they really felt the effect.
Yeah.
Not me personally. I was, you know, it never really bothered me before, but a lot of my shipmates, they weren't handling very
It got a
well.
little bit messy. Is
It
that?
got a little bit messy. Yes.
Oh.
You know, it was kind of a chain of reaction. You see one person, and then the next person, and then the next person.
Oh.
It could get ugly real quick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's a sacrifice in and of itself. But
Yeah.
but being in a war zone, I think that's the scariest part, because you know, when you signed up, you didn't know there was going to be all of this. You're going to be
No.
just sent literally into a war.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know, we went into boot camp thinking it's all good, and then things start hitting the fan. We were hearing, you know, while you were going through boot camps, we started hearing rumors about things. And so when I left and I got my first assignment, which is your usual ship, so I knew where I was going. You know, after they
Yeah.
give you your assignment, you know, and you look and see where your ship is at the moment or at the time of your assignment, you go, oh, okay,
Yeah.
we're going overseas.
Wow.
So some people got to stay back in the United States. A lot of us got to go overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where a lot of ships were hanging out at the time. But, you know, like I said, it was a heck of an experience for sure for a young man like myself, you know, straight out of high school, and, you know, get to see the world real quick.
Yeah. Gosh, it sounds like it. Well, hey, thanks, Mr. Tito.
Hey, no problem.
On behalf of all of us, of course, thank you for your service.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
And happy Veterans Day.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. All right, moving on. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm now joined by Angel Zamora, who is also a U.S. Navy veteran.
Yes,
so
I am.
thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir. Thank
He's
you.
one of our directors.
Yes.
And also a big Astros fan.
Oh, yeah.
And a big fan of Iron Maiden, too. Definitely.
Exactly. The Astros right there.
So tell us about your service. How did you join the United States Navy?
It was a long time ago. 1996. That's when I joined. Just volunteer.
Mhm.
Wanted to join to go study.
Mhm.
Go study and actually do what we do right now, right? Production, TV
Oh, so you
production.
learned that in the Navy?
Supposedly,
So-
I was gonna go and
Okay.
learn that, but unfortunately, I went to engineering.
Okay.
I started working in
well, that's
engineering.
important, too.
Oh yeah, but years passed, and I was in communications after and all the stuff. But yeah, it was probably what more than 30 years ago when.
But
and
this is stories are amazing, though, because Angel was on an aircraft carrier.
Two
aircraft carriers.
aircraft. Yep.
So what was that like?
Oh my God, it's just a big city, just a big city on sea,
Mhm.
you know. And at first it was kind of difficult,
Yeah.
but after a while you get used to it, you know, like everything else.
So these carriers go, I mean, obviously all over the world, right?
Mhm,
Where
yes.
did it take you?
It took me all over Asia. basically. So all you can name probably any country in Asia, and I've been there.
Really?
All the way to Australia, Papua New Guinea,
Wow.
Samoa, and all those islands that we never hear about.
Yeah.
So,
But you got what it would? Were you able to get off the ship and see these places? Or
yes. Sometimes
don't they have to have a giant port for that thing to, or you get on a smaller boat? How does it work?
in Thailand and Singapore, you have smaller boats, but other ports you can pull in. Even you can pull in
Yeah.
into the port and with the carrier.
Yeah.
So like we went to Dubai, Bahrain, Middle East, and all the stuff, and
All
you
over.
can you can pull into with this big carrier. Like just imagine having a big carrier
Yeah.
on the port. Like you can see it
Gosh.
from far away.
It's amazing. Was there a scariest moment?
The scariest moment, I think it was it's related to weather.
Yeah, well,
we were talking about.
Yeah, I was asking everybody about weather. I heard about Tom Tito was talking about some waves when he came back from the Mediterranean back to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
You were in a different part of the world, though.
It was the part of the world that I was like the scariest waves there, rough seas, was the Sea of Japan.
Okay.
And down in Australia. So, and it was, of course, in Japan is the winter time around this time, and of course in Australia is the summertime because it's the winter time is our summertime. So, but yeah, those were scary.
I mean, like, how big are we talking about here?
I mean, what is it, like 40, 50-foot waves?
Yeah.
Like,
enough to make this gigantic
exactly.
city.
I mean, this is a carrier, and it moved like with this, like up and down and side to side. You're walking, on the hallways like this. Yeah. It's like,
but Angel was also telling me that at night it sounds frightening.
Oh, yeah.
Because you go out and it's just pitch black.
Yeah, there's nothing. You see pitch black. Of course, you see all the stars, beautiful stars and all that, but the sea is pitch black. You can't see anything when, like, no lights. Just imagine, no lights, no nothing. You don't see no city lights, no, nothing like that. And actually, like twice, I think we were going to Australia. One time we were going to Melbourne, right? Melbourne, and we had to turn back because there was a hurricane coming.
Oh yeah.
So even though
even a giant ship like that,
exactly. That day, just imagine you pull into port, everybody's happy. Oh, after like 4 or 5 months, it's like, oh, we're pulling into port, and then that day they're saying, guess what?
Yeah.
We're not pulling into port because there's a hurricane coming, so we're turning back and going back to sea. It's like another month.
So then you finally came back to San Diego, right? Which is where you lived.
Yes.
So you joined us here.
Yes.
I'm glad that you did.
I was in California for 22 years, and finally I was like, I'm going home. I'm going back home, and I'm here now.
Excellent. Thank you for your service,
sir.
We all appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
And now, and here we are with Mr. Kevin Collins, who is one of our fine directors here at Fox 26. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't want to presume that you're a senior director because just because you have a little bit of gray I do.
Right.
As a young guy. No, but so you're a Navy veteran also.
Yes, Navy veteran, yes.
Tell us about how you come from a military family. Though.
Yes, I do come from a military family. My father was a master chief for years in the Navy, and of course I just wanted to follow in his footsteps.
Yeah.
The Navy supplied me an opportunity to go to college. Yeah. And I took full advantage of that.
To Grambling State University.
Grambling State University.
Yeah, absolutely.
So took full advantage of that. So it was worth my while. The experience I had as far as meeting people, doing traveling, it was great. It was great. I can't complain.
Where did you, what kind of ship were you on and where'd you go?
I was on a fast frigate, and I basically stayed in dock because I was in the reserves for a period of time.
Okay,
so we didn't get out that much as far as getting out in open water a lot. So I was in dock a lot.
Was there because this is a weather show.
Yes.
So when it boils down to it, was there any sort of weather-related memory that you remember? I mean, I know,
Mhm.
yeah. Anything that pops up?
The biggest memory that I have is the heavy amount of fog that we experienced
Oh,
out in San Diego.
yeah,
And I was a signalman, so I worked up on the signal bridge, and
Yeah.
we the semaphores and flashing lights and stuff like that. And in the mornings, you could not see the ship next to you.
yeah.
It was so thick you couldn't do anything. So we have to wait till about midday when the fog will kind of dissipate, and then you like, wow, everything was been around me.
So we had a little fog advisory this morning. That's nothing.
That's nothing.
That's
That was nothing. That was nothing. So yeah, that was the major thing, was that the amount of fog was very, very heavy. You wonder, how's this ship recognize what's out in the open water in front of it?
Yeah.
And that's where sonar comes in and radar comes in, so you can see what's out there. So that was the biggest thing that I experienced, and that was every morning. Every morning.
Yeah.
Every morning. So,
Well, see, everybody thinks the weather out there in San Diego is beautiful, but there are some things about it, though.
Yes, there are some things about it that you have to really get used to. I'm pretty sure that the people that were driving are kind of used to it,
Yeah.
but still, man, you get close to the water, it is really thick. It's really thick, really heavy.
Well, I want to thank you very much for your service.
Well, thank you, sir.
And not just here at Fox 26,
Yes,
but of
sir.
course in the United States Navy, and
Yes, sir.
I'm sure on behalf of everybody out there watching, they
Well,
say thank you as well.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Kevin.
All right. Thank you. man.
All right.
All right.
And for the grand finale, everybody, we're here with our satellite coordinator, Mr. Mark Jenner. Nice to
Mikey.
see you, sir. Thank you very much. So you are also a veteran of the United States Navy.
1985 to 1989,
Yeah.
October.
And I just saw a picture. You were a kid. I mean, how old
Baby.
were you when you joined?
18.
And why did you join the Navy?
At the time, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. See, Tom Tito told us that he wanted to see the world.
I got to see the world.
Yes, you did. So what were some of the places that you had to go?
Mediterranean, all the countries around the Mediterranean, Norway, several of the Caribbean islands.
Norway.
Yeah.
Now, what was in Norway? Was it like
We did
a NATO mission, or what
No,
was it?
North Atlantic. We were doing training, and which we went to Oslo, was a port of call up there, and we were going to stop in England, but we were just doing multi-country training.
Yeah. And what kind of ship were you on?
Guided missile destroyer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds heavy duty.
No, it was old. It was the flagship for the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Oh.
So it was an old ship.
Well, speaking of Cuban Missile Crisis, though, I mean, you were kind of like right at the tail end of almost the height, though, of Cold War, Reagan, Gorbachev, kind of right at the tail end of when things, I guess, started to get a little bit less tense. But I mean, 85 was, you're right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
So what was that like? I mean, because you figure that was at a time where it was like we could like have a nuclear war, like any moment from the 60s to the mid 80s.
When being that young, I didn't think about, I mean, we had our jobs, and if we went to war or if there was an incident, we had to do specific things. I never thought of it.
So what was your job?
Sonar technician.
Oh. So
More listening.
But I mean, is that like what they play in the movies? Is kind of that?
Nothing like it.
It's nothing like
No.
that. Okay.
More
Like
listen-
most things
yeah.
in the movies.
If you're using active sonar, there's something really wrong.
So you're looking for submarines, or
Listening, yes.
listening for submarines.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. And did you find any? I mean, what was there ever a moment that you thought, one of those? Oh
Only
no.
once.
Yeah.
As old as the ship was, it was noisy.
Yeah.
We didn't have the latest, newest equipment, so only once.
Okay. Now, I've been asking everybody about weather-related experiences, and I know we've talked about this over the years, over the last 24 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I've been here, about all these adventures on the high seas with these gigantic waves. So, what do you recall about that?
on that North Atlantic to Oslo. It was in the summer. We finished the operation. We came down through the English Channel, and there was a hurricane coming. It was 1988. I believe it was Helen, which didn't hit anything but made a hook through the Atlantic almost towards England.
Yeah, a lot of them do that.
Yeah, and we tried to beat it and didn't beat it. And we went through the middle of it.
Oh.
And huge waves.
And I'm just imagining everybody getting seasick, or are you guys so seasoned at this point that it didn't bother you?
No, 75% of the ship was sick. I didn't get seasick, so I was working
Lucky for you.
24/7 for a couple days.
Oh man, that's an adventure. And then you left the service in 1989.
Yes.
And did you learn a lot of the stuff that you use on the job here in the Navy? It's completely different?
Totally opposite.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you ever need somebody to listen for a submarine, you know where to come.
One other weather extreme from the hurricanes, we stopped in Alexandria, Egypt.
Wow.
I think it was the same year. I think it was 88 or 89. And I stood watch on the deck, and it was the middle of their summer, and it was 129 in the shade. And it was hot.
But you had to do your duty. You had to stand out there. Wow. Man,
in the shade.
That's the first heat story that I've heard. Actually, most folks were talking about waves and things like that, fog a little bit. Got a nice story about rain and a rainbow from Mr. Dennis, but yeah, 129 in the shade, and we complain about it being 95.
Yep.
Hey, thanks, Mark. Thanks for being a part of this.
Thanks, Mike.
Really appreciate it. And I want to thank you all for tuning in here for this Veterans Day edition of Mondays with Mike. Didn't we meet some wonderful people here at Fox 26? And if you or any of your family members served in our armed forces, thank you for your sacrifice. Have a great one.